Welcome to Yates Makes. I'm back with another kind of mega format jelly plate video. So this is what I've been working on. Well, this one and this one that's on canvas board, this one that's on paper. Exploring some of the painting techniques I really enjoy, but seeing if I can incorporate some drawing transfer. So this is wax crayon drawing transfer that I've used the gel plate to transfer and mix in with the more kind of painterly techniques. So I also made another discovery that I'll share with you in the video that might be of a lot of interest to some of you. Anyway, look, enough of this. Let's see how I got on. Okay, so this is kind of my second installment of my first impressions of getting this big sort of mega gel plate. And I had this idea that I've been, cooking, simmering for a while, where I wanted to do a bit of artwork based on the old kind of derelict pier. I think it's called the West Pier in Brighton. So I'd done a few sketches and I thought, right, this is a good opportunity to scale up and see how far I can push a kind of drawing transfer. So quite a lot to invest in an experiment, I know, but I got my last little stump of kind of a jumbo Crayola black wax crayon, and what you see me doing here is drawing over my pencil sketch of the West Pier. So yeah, it's fiddly. I had to kind of shave with my scalpel some sharp edges to try and keep some crisp kind of quality of line, some thinner quality of line. But knowing what I know about wax crayon transfer is your quality of line comes up a little thinner anyway. So that's what I was banking on. Having done my wax crayon work, you'll see there's a little bit of kind of what do you want to call it, trellis or whatever, sort of steel work at the top that's still in pencil on. It was just too thin to attack with the wax crayon, so I thought, right, I'll use the ballpoint emboss technique for that. So I'll zoom in and have a look at that now. So I thought I'd go for this. I didn't test it out first, which turns out I probably should have done, although I got away with it. What I feared was that not only would I get a different quality of line, which is what I wanted a more precise thin line, I would actually get a different depth of tone as well, and a different texture, and that it might not kind of look like part of the same drawing, if you know what I mean, in the transfer stage. I went for it anyway. Sometimes, just got to have a go, haven't you? I'd got to this stage and realised my lines weren't thin enough, so it was kind of the only option I felt I had. Anyway, let's have a look at the first transfer. I decided to go with just Amsterdam black and Amsterdam green, just to kind of mix, and you see me just with the big gel plate out there and mixing it, swirling it round straight on the plate. I'm trying to do this fairly quick. I have sped it up a tiny bit, but not too much. Obviously you don't want to hang around. It's quite warm in England at the moment, so paint dries out quite quick as well. So rolled out, and there's my transfer. Just trying to line it up and dropping that down, and I let it dry. Once I'd put gentle pressure on the back, which is what I'm doing now, making sure, especially around those embossed areas, that the paper has made good contact with the gel plate, but I'm really not pressing hard here. This is just like kind of feather touch. I left it down for a good 2 or 3 minutes, so I've skipped on there, and peeling up you can see that it has transferred really well and quite evenly across such a big picture as well, which was really encouraging. This is the first time I've tried to transfer a big drawing in this way, but as I'd feared, if I zoom in now, you'll see that there is a textural tonal difference between the kind of ballpoint pen emboss and the wax crayon transfer, but it's okay. this gets diluted a bit in the transfer stage, or the kind of, the pull stage. So right, I thought I'm just going to get it onto paper and see how it goes. The plan was make this one really dark and heavy and atmospheric, and maybe then paint some or pastel some lighter tones into some of the negative spaces through the structure. So what I'm pulling it with here is quite dark, quite a dark grey, and you see me there mixing in a little more white just to lighten that up a little. And again, you don't want to hang around too long. This paint wants to be nice and wet in order to get a successful pull. So there you go, you see me rolling it out now, and I'm planning on transferring just kind of half at a time. I was going to get the top half, the pier, transferred, and then think about, if it looked any good, think about what I could do for the bottom half. Now the paper I'm using is like a large sheet of, it's like an A2 sheet of, I think 200 GSM drawing paper, quite smooth. And yeah, there you see me kind of really massaging that paper down, making sure it's made good contact. Left it for a good sort of 10 minutes, and here I am peeling it up. And like I said before, the kind of any difference in quality of line, tone, texture kind of gets lost a bit in the mix. I'll zoom in so you can see. But I kind of definitely wasn't happy. I soldiered on a bit, just to add a little colour down in the bottom half that you see me doing here. But really, it was a bit grey and dismal, and a little bit kind of, it just wasn't what I had in mind. But it did tell me a lot about, what I want to do for my second transfer. And again, this is the beauty of these kind of oil pastel or wax crayon drawings, is that you can get at least 3-4 pulls off of each one. Plus, as I'll feature at the end of the video, another little bonus I'd never considered before. Okay, second transfer, I wanted to brighten everything up, so I went right in with this kind of nice, kind of warm pink colour, and you'll hear me pulling up the second transfer, and amazingly clean really for the second one. And I'll zoom in a little there, you can see, actually I think it's because the colour's a little lighter, it's a little bit more forgiving in terms of the difference. Right, this time I wanted to work on a canvas board and really just enjoy some painting skills, and kind of see how, I'd never really explored this too much, how the gel plate transfer works with a kind of a more painterly background. So using very much the techniques I like in painting. I appreciate they're not for everyone. It's a lot of kind of scraper board, palette knife, kind of layering, dripping. So you'll see here, having scraped across some orange and kind of Naples yellow green and a bit of buff, I've mixed up a bit of white with some water, and I'm just letting that drip down. Another reason I love working on canvas boards, preferable to like a kind of stretched canvas or a piece of paper, is I can sand, and that really suits me. Sanding the surface, building up kind of transparent, translucent layers. It's just like, that's just my bag. So here we go, dripping on a bit of paint, and all of these things I have to let dry. Whilst they were drying, I was looking at that transfer sheet, and something occurred to me. So there it was. I was looking at it just on the other side of the table, and thought, well, now that I've done that second transfer, I can really clearly see my drawing again. And I just thought, you know what, sod it, rather than do yet another transfer, I'm going to use this as a stencil. So I had a fair bit of time to kill between layers drying and sanding and building up layers, and I just set about cutting this as a stencil. So nice little side project going on, and I'll feature that in a later video. I've got one coming up on stencil construction of stencils, production of stencils, stenciling techniques. So I'll add that into this one. Anyway, look, moving on. You'll see me zip through a bit of footage there of, again, more scraper board, mixing paints with gel medium to get some transparency. You can actually buy transparent acrylics now, which is amazing. Anyway, having done loads of drips, scraping, kind of masking off little areas with newspaper that we just zipped by, and I thought, right, I'm going to do a little bit of pattern kind of buried in my layers. So this is just a laser printout of a dot pattern, which I'm using as a kind of transfer, and left that down for, well, this is real time, so what's that, maybe 10 seconds at the most. And this will this I'll then drop into a section. You can see there a lovely clean transfer that you get off the laser copies, and I've got a little gel medium on, get my roller, roll that out, and just gonna place that in what will be the C. Haven't made that very clear at the moment, have I? Because I've been kind of running through these paint techniques really quick. The bottom half of the piece is where I'm just going to have kind of C texture, and over the top half is where I'm going to drop my eventually transfer my my pier kind of drawing transfer. So I'm just making sure that's made good contact and is kind of roughly in line. And peeling up, you can see where it's gone over different colours. It's kind of done some interesting things. The shot's a bit overexposed, but again, a little graphic element is something that often creeps into my work, even if it's the most buried layer in a kind of landscape painting like this. Okay, look, the exposure's a bit better there, so you can see that dot pattern a little clearer. So again, more drips. Love those drips. So much fun. If you've never tried it, you put a fairly opaque mix or quite a thick solution, tip it up, and then just run a slightly wet brush across, and you get all these great drips cascading down your piece. You can kind of arrest that movement by just flipping it flat again. If you can be bothered, you get your hairdryer out and dry things out. Here I'm just with a translucent yellow just swiping across those drips now that they're dry. In the meantime, I went back to the stencil I was cutting. I'll show you how far I got with that at the end of the video. What am I up to here? Now this was fun. This just, it's kind of treating this like a big sketchbook page, really. I'm just trying ideas out that the gel plate offers that my normal painting techniques, don't necessarily. So here, mixed up a bit of blue, masking off the top, and then, if you want a kind of water texture, you can just drag that. This is just an old mount board stamp that I've used with the gel plate in the past, and you can just scrape that through, catch the edge, and you'll get a kind of, it's not a pattern, but it's kind of a suggested pattern. It's quite organic, which is, could look good for the water. Another benefit of working like this on a canvas board is it's really easy just to paint out, sand out anything you don't like. So this blue is dead harsh. Once I'd built up a few, I went back in and toned that right down again. But an interesting texture and another little discovery. Something again that the gel plate offers to your mixed media work, your painting work. That sort of idea of printing a very immediate kind of painted texture. So sanding back, I think this was the last sand before I started to think about placement of my kind of mega drawing transfer. So here I am. Now I positioned it dry. So it took a fair bit of lining up. I wanted it bang on that horizon line, and I thought I'd try something I haven't tried before, which is, normally I would ink up. I don't know. I keep saying ink, which is confusing because it's acrylic, isn't it? But normally I would roller on, brayer on my gel medium directly onto the plate. But then it gets a bit cloudy and it's quite hard to position, even though the gel plate's transparent. And then once it makes contact anywhere, it's kind of like, it sucks straight onto that board, and it's really hard to shift, especially with the big plate. So I thought, right, I'll try this, and I'm painting straight onto the surface of the picture and hoping that I've covered everything, got a good even covering, and then dropping it down. So yeah, there you go. That definitely kind of helped me keep it in position. Whether it helps me in the actual transfer, we'll see when I peel it up. But you can see already I've realised that I haven't got that bottom corner covered, so I'm going to have to peel that up and paste a bit under there, drop that back down, and I'm just going to go away now, go cut my stencil for a bit, and come back in a couple of hours. Okay, left this for a while, so let's put it up and see. Alright, there's some bits I'd kind of need to tidy up, probably just sand up and a little layer of paint, but yeah, I mean, pleased with that so far. Okay, so that's where I've got up to so far with my stencil made from my original kind of transfer drawing. You know what, always looking for kind of ways to extend, kind of, you know, get a series of work together, try and cut corners, and you know, great, I love stenciling. So next video is going to be this plus some other stencil stuff, something for you to look forward to if you're into that sort of thing. There you go, there's the kind of main bit of work that I've made from this other one, you know, I've drawn back into a bit, not so keen, bit flat for me, bit bland. This one, well, I needed a bit of cheering up, so colours far more vibrant. This has been loads of fun, really lovely to explore, kind of mixing painting techniques that I love with some drawing transfer using the gel plate. This bigger format gel plate is, you know, it's really working for me. It's given me some freedoms that the smaller format ones just, you know, just didn't afford me. So yeah, okay. If you've enjoyed the video, you know, remember, subscribe to the channel. You can do a notification thing, and apparently a bell rings, and next time I upload a video you'll get notified. You know, I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take it easy. Ta-ta.